So anyone who can now hear me, my name is Jane. I'll start off my turn. So Loam is a game of interacting with fun little creatures, and those creatures come from two main sources. There's a deck that you can draw cards from, and there's a central area in the middle of the table called the soil. From either of those two sources, you could also draw and hold creatures in your hand, and they do stuff when you place them in your own little area, which is called the root zone. So out of my choices to start the turn, I have 3 inputs that all do different things, and each top and bottom half has a different thing that it does. So it's like 6 choices actually. What I think I'm going to start with looking at the soil is the bottom half of antibiosis. The reason I'm doing that is because out of the creatures in the soil, which is like the main place I'm looking to play from right now, there's a lot of level 3s. Got a level 3 ecosystem engineer and a level 3 large predator. The thing with level 3 creatures is that I can't play them until I've put a bunch of creatures into my root zone and built up a solid community. You can only play level 3s when it's the 7th creature in your community. So since I have no creatures, no communities, I'm going to use the second half of antibiosis to actually bury these, which means put them in a discard pile and take them totally out of the game. I'll also take out one of these level 1 plant mutualists because there's another one there. And the second half of antibiosis is that I get to refresh the soil with 3 new creatures from the deck. And finally, my last action is that I get to draw 1, and I'm going to draw 1 creature off the top of the deck into my hand. So I see like the maximum amount of creatures that I can. So that's it for antibiosis. Does quite a lot. And now I have some much more workable creatures. Have 5 level 1s in the soil, which is like exactly what I want to see. The next thing I'm going to be taking a look at to kind of like optimize my turn of Loam is what behaviors I can score out. There's always 3 behaviors available at the start of your turn in Loam, and you score them by playing 2 creatures of the matching types next to each other in one of your communities. So I see that there's some small predators and some plant mutualists that look very scoreable, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use the top part of Rich Exudates as my second input, and I'm going to put down a plant mutualist from the soil into my root zone, as well as a small predator, which will both give me the soil stats of those creatures. It's a total of 3 food web and 1 nutrient, and also score me this behavior, nemotophagy. Thanks, people who actually know science. So when I score that input, it goes directly to my hand, and then that's a one-time action that I have to use at any point. I can hold it, or I could try using it now. Looking at the soil and also the available behaviors here, I think I'm kind of inclined to hold it, but I'll take my last input action first, which is attractive volatiles. I'm going to draw 1 and then place 1 creature. So I'm going to draw 1 from the top of the deck, put it in my hand, and then I'm going to place 1, which in this case, I'm actually going to take this level 2 small predator, which will bump my food web up even higher. So in Loam, there's 2 main scoring conditions, which is to balance your root health, or your root zone tracks, which reflect different parts of a healthy soil, structure, nutrients, and food web, and also to create communities of creatures that are diverse and support each other well. So you don't want to repeat in your communities either 2 creatures or many creatures that are of the same type. That'll be a not diverse community, or many creatures that are not of the same level. So here I put 2 small predators, but there's a level 1 small predator and a level 2 small predator. So I'm still building to like an inner guild diversity there. Correct me on science terms if I'm talking out of my butt. Happy about that. And I'm also pumping my food web up really high. Pumping your stats is normally bad because remember I said that you want to have a balanced soil. But I'm totally okay with this because as soon as you hit your 8 in any stat, you're able to upgrade one of your inputs that corresponds to that soil stat, which in the case of food web would be antibiosis. So there's some incentive to build kind of evenly among your different soil stats. But there's also somewhat of a tempo play to invest really heavily into one stat and get that upgraded input really fast because it can make a huge difference throughout the game. With that, though, I think I'll end my turn, which goes to the kind of end turn phase. At the end of my turn, I get to draw one card, add it to my hand.
Always
For the next player, I will refill the soil, and I will replace any behaviors back up to 3. And that's the end for me.
Just to interrupt, one thing I love about this game is like, among set collection games, I think it's really fun and kind of interesting and unique that like there's always multiple multiple things drawing you in different directions about what you want to place. Like there's never really an objectively correct creature to place because even if you go out of balance for a turn or two, it may give you that upgrade earlier, which could really crank up the rest of your gameplay and give you a lot more opportunity later. It's just something really fun about Loam that I don't really see that often in other games.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so for my turn 2, I'll adjust my little turn tracker up. And let's see here. I think, I see a play. I'm going to play the top mode of Rich Exudates again to place 2 creatures. I'll place this plant mutualist for nutrients and a food web, and I'll place a microbial decomposer for nutrients and a structure. This earns me a total of 2 behaviors. I earn entomophagy with the large predator and plant mutualist, and then I earn quorum sensing with the microbial decomposer and the plant mutualist. The same creature can help you score multiple behaviors. I'm going to use quorum sensing. So I draw 2, and then if I have 4 or more creatures in hand, I can place a creature. So I will draw 2. Oh dang! I probably should have taken some stuff from the soil, but that's all right. And I'll place this here from my hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And then I will play. I'm going to use the top mode of Antibiosis to place a creature, then shed 1. And I'll start a new community with a level 1 ecosystem engineer for 2 structure. That will upgrade my attractive volatiles, which I will then use to draw 2 and place 2 creatures. So I'll draw this and 1 from the top of the deck, and then I'll place 2 creatures. Level 1 animal decomposer gives me 2 nutrients. That'll upgrade Rich Exudates, though I don't get it back until next turn. And then the small predator gives me 2 food web. That earns me selective feeding. So I can place 1 creature, then grow the soil by 2, and draw 1 of those creatures. So I'll play that. I'll place this here. That'll upgrade Antibiosis for next turn. And then I grow the soil by 2, draw one of those creatures. I'll draw this. And that will be my turn. So I draw one from the deck. I replenish the 3 behaviors that I earned, and I get my inputs back. Your turn, Jay.
Heck of a turn. Wow.
Yeah, Max really popped off there.
He's comboing.
Okay, so on my turn, I think my first objective is to upgrade Antibiosis. I want to upgrade that so I can use the upgraded version this turn. And that means finding a creature that can give me 2 food web, which a small predator, a level 1 small predator could do. So I think I might use the bottom of Attractive Volatiles to actually start a new community with a small predator, which will bump my food web up to 8 and upgrade Antibiosis. Just flip that card to get the upgraded version. And the reason I'm putting that in a new community, you can have as many communities going as you want in a game of Loam, but the reason I'm putting it in a new community is because my first community already has a level 1 small predator, and if I put it in the same community, essentially that second one's not going to score me any points, because it's not introducing a new level of a small predator, and there's already a small predator in that community, so it's not doing creature type diversity either. I also get to grow the soil by 3 from Attractive Volatiles, so I get to see a couple more creatures here. Not exactly what I was hoping for, but that's okay. Now at this point, I actually really don't want to play any more small predators because they tend to provide a lot of food web, and my food web is way ahead of my other stats. So I'm going to try and transition into a different creature type. And looking at the different behaviors we have available, I probably want to start with a microbial decomposer or an ecosystem engineer. I see microbial decomposers in the soil, have a level 1, but I don't see. Never mind. I can rock with that. I'll actually use my upgraded Antibiosis for the bottom action. And I'm going to get rid of some of these creatures I don't really need. I said I don't need any more small predators, so I'll bury that guy. I don't need a level 1 plant mutualist. Get rid of that. And I actually don't need this level 1 large predator either. And then I'll grow the soil by 4. That's really powerful to see so many new creatures off that one card. And I also get 1 placement, which I absolutely love. So I'll place the microbial decomposer, and I'm going to place it on top of my small predator in my second community to get this behavior, Trophic Cascade. That feels nice. That's a cute little combo. And from there, now it would be great if I could find an ecosystem engineer, but unfortunately I have not found one. But I'm looking to play a little bit, so I'm actually going to use Rich Exudates in a bit of a different way. The top half of Rich Exudates lets you place 2 creatures. Super strong. It's the card that mostly gets creatures on the board for you. But the bottom half lets you cycle the available behaviors. So I'm going to take that option, put these 2 behaviors down, and draw 2 new ones, which I love. That was a great draw for me, because the creature types that are available in the soil and in my hand are way more amenable to scoring these 2 behaviors than the ones that were previously there. Unfortunately, I do take a bit of a hit in my placements for using the bottom half of Rich Exudates. I only get 1 placement out of the rest of that input. But like I said, I'll gladly use it. So I will actually place a level 1 animal decomposer and score a second behavior this turn, biofilm grazing. And now I've used all of my inputs, but I am absolutely loaded up on behaviors. I have 3 that I'm holding in my hand. I'm also looking at a board with quite a lot of creatures in the soil. So I'm going to try and pop off with these and get some more placements down. I'll use this behavior where the requirement is that I discard a small predator or an animal decomposer from my hand. Here's the small predator I'll discard, so goodbye to you. And that will give me 2 delicious placements. So I'm actually going to keep trying to build my first community and see if I can get to some larger level 3 creatures by building it up. So my first placement will be another animal decomposer to throw in there. And my second placement, looking for a level 2, oh, not quite yet, excuse me. I'll place a small predator from hand. Sorry, a large predator from hand. So that's not too bad. I think I've gummed up my combos for this turn, actually. Looking at the board, I don't have enough level 1s that I want to play to keep these communities growing. So at this point, I'm actually going to tap out. The soil's at 6, so no more creatures are added to the soil. And I'm quite happy about leaving this soil for Max because it has 3 level 3 creatures in it. Kind of a nightmare soil to have to deal with, to be honest. And I'll replace the behaviors.
It has 4 level 3s in it.
Oh, excuse me,
bad.
4, yeah.
Also, there are 2 pets on stream, Cat and Bunny, although Apollo just left.
Yeah, he's cleaning up the rest of his kibble.
I did see that. I heard him cause some chaos. Very, very classic Apollo move.
Yeah, he does the classic cat trick where it's like, there's still food in his bowl, but he's screaming for food anyway. Yeah, but like eventually he will go and eat the kibble that he was too good for. So he's a liar. All right. So I am starting my turn with a full grip of upgraded input. So I should be able to make my turn 3 just as impressive as my turn 2. So what I'm going to start with is the bottom mode of the upgraded antibiosis. So bury 3 from the soil, grow the soil by 4, then place 1. So I'm gonna get rid of some of these level 3s. That's why that card exists for horrible soils like that. All right, I'm gonna place this level 2 microbial decomposer, this amoeba that I was once told looks like Mr. Burns in profile, and now I can never unsee it.
It really does. Funny on multiple angles because of the classic Mr. Burns scene where they're trying to shove the amoebas through the door to illustrate his illness.
Yes. All right, now I'm going to use this behavior, entomophagy, to bury a to bury an ecosystem engineer or large predator from my hand, which I will do, and then place 2 creatures. So I'll place this plant mutualist and this microbial decomposer. So whoop, and then 2, 2, 1.
Wow.
All right. I'm gonna use the bottom mode of rich exudates. So I'm gonna cycle the available behaviors this time, and I'll place 2 creatures instead of 3. Get rid of those. Behavior deck has run out, so we replace the replace the used pile with replace the deck with the used pile. Keep going. All right, and now I get to place 2 creatures, and wowza, not much better, but what I can do is place a small predator and an ecosystem engineer. That will earn me Thoracy, which I'm not equipped to use right now, but could maybe be in the future. So I'm going to use the bottom mode of Attractive Volatiles Plus to place 2 creatures, then grow the soil by 4. So I'll place this Plant Mutualist and this Microbial Decomposer for 2 nutrients, structure and a food web, and then I grow the soil by a whopping 4. And that also earns me this soil conditioning. Although I'm still not able to use, still unfortunately not able to use Thoracy here. It's a powerful behavior, but can be a little situational. And the thing with behaviors is, unlike your inputs, which you have to use, behaviors you can choose not to use. And I'm going to plead the fifth, as it were, and end my turn.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not this behavior would destroy my soil if I played it.
When you're sitting at perfect balance like Max is right now, it's risky to start playing creatures.
It's like the funny thing is it's so tempting to be like, just play as many as you possibly can, but sometimes you got to look at your board and say it's fine. Don't need to mess with it anymore.
Go, James.
Okay.
I guess this is our turn 3s.
Yes, this is our turn 3. Looking at these creatures, I realized immediately after ending my turn last turn that I made some terrible mistakes. I didn't take some things that I should have taken, and now I'm going to suffer for it. But that's Loam, baby.
Playing against Max is unfair. He's nationally ranked.
See, I'll grab Apollo, get him on camera.
Get that cat.
Okay, so
he ran right into the bedroom. he knows what he knows what it means when the webcam is on.
Oh no, he's gonna show me off again.
So what I started off doing is Antibiosis bottom because I wanted to get rid of some of these creatures in the soil. They were not what I was looking forward to see. This, however, is a little bit better. Not exactly what I want, but something. So I'll start with putting down an Ecosystem Engineer on my placement from Antibiosis Plus.
Oh, here he is.
Oof, this is actually quite rough. I'm going to dip into Attractive Volatiles next to place 1 creature. And then I will grow the soil by 3. And I'm really counting on this grow to show me some level 2s that I might like to play with. Okay, that is totally acceptable, actually. It's exactly what I wanted to see. Next, I'm going to use one of my behaviors that I've been holding on to. It's going to be a large predator that comes down from the first placement. And then I'm going to bury a card from my hand, an ecosystem engineer, to place another creature. And that one is going to be microbial decomposer. Way down here. Okay. I'm also going to use my last remaining behavior as of right now, biofilm grazing, to place one plant each list from my hand. And from the soil, I'm going to place this level 3 animal decomposer, which does a lot of nice stuff for my soil stats.
Mm-hmm.
Because my structure and nutrients have been lagging behind, and that's what that animal decomposer level 3 is going to deliver on. That also scores me 1 new behavior and upgrades my remaining input. I'm feeling okay about that. Okay. At this point, I'm kind of playing for outs because I think Max has me totally beat. But I'm going to try cycling the behaviors. I think that's the only thing that can happen to help me right now. So I'll see 2 new behaviors. And what can I say? I'm okay with those, actually. Because I'll play this microbial decomposer on my community here to get me a structure and a nutrients, and that scores me 1 more behavior, keep me in it, and I have 1 additional placement, which I will throw an animal decomposer for 2 nutrients down there. So that's it for my inputs, and I have 2 behaviors remaining. This one lets me draw 2, and that's all it'll be good for. That's okay. And finally, my last input, I'll discard a level 3 from hand, and then I can place 2 creatures, which will probably blow my soil out of proportion, but it'll give me a good community. So I'm going for it. Yep, that's the play. Unfortunately, my nutrients are still way too high.
Yeah, the nutrients gotcha. That was like watching one of those like chess puzzles. That was just brutal.
I mean, Loam is always a game where you have outs to play to.
Mm-hmm.
Any card that lets you add new creatures to the soil and try and make that turn happen. So even though I wasn't super successful in getting the hits that I needed, ended the turn off way better than where it started, right?
Yeah,
I still had a lot to do.
I gotta say, you played the cycling behaviors thing like exactly correctly in my opinion. It was like that's what it's for. It's like those moments where you're really throwing that like crazy pass. You're like, let's see what happens.
It's a good game for it. And I said that I messed up on my last turn. I think it was true that I should have drawn some cards from the soil that I couldn't play that turn, but if I had kept them in my hand, I could have used them on my final turn. So using the behavior swapping is kind of like a way to try and recover from having made mistakes earlier in the game. But it's nice to be able to do that.
Sometimes those mistakes are just like calculated risks that didn't pay off because you're like, maybe it'll still be there, in a turn. It's possible. It may not get used.
In a 2-player game, it's definitely more feasible that something will still be there in the soil.
Yeah, that's like one of the fun things about scaling in this game is that it doesn't really change tremendous amount when you scale up players, but the soil becomes way more shifty the more players you add because they're constantly taking things out of it and burying things and whatever. So your strategy changes a tiny bit as you add players. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's like totally possible for a single player, even in a 2-player game when there's only one turn between your turn and the next time you go. For a single player to like really upturn that soil with their cards.
If they
like,
want
I think
to,
there
yeah.
were cards that I wanted that Max either buried or drew during his turn.
Yeah, it's totally possible that like they won't mess with it too much. Like there's something else they want to do. But then again, you may wind up with a situation where they just like they want everything out of there, and it's just like you can't do anything about that at that time. You know, you made your choice.
Yeah. Also note, like the three of us designed this game, and even we do not play perfectly.
Oh, for sure, especially me. Y'all didn't have to see me humiliate myself.
Do we want to run through scoring?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see.
Yeah, I can do mine. I would have done it while Jane was taking her final turn, but figured it should sort of be done on stream. So yeah, so in the physical game, you'll have this sort of double-sided card. It's a rules reminder on one side, and then a score tracker on the back. So, and you'll have these counters which you can put on it to mark how many points you get from your different sources. So, so in this case, the root zone balance bonus that plays off of how well balanced your stats are. I have perfect balance, so I get 10 points from that, since all of my stats are identical. And then I use one counter for every one of my communities. And if I'd had more than 3 communities, I would just grab some additional counters. So to score the communities, each community scores 1 point for every creature type that's in it. So in this case, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since it has all 6 creature types in it, it gets an additional plus 2 points. So that would be 8. And then it gets plus 1 point for every type with 2 levels present, which would be this one type here, microbial decomposer. So this community is worth a total of 9 points. This community here is also worth 9 points because it has the same deal going on. And then this one here is just worth 4 points. So 9 plus 9 is 18, 28, 32. 32 points is my final score.
Pretty good. Quite close to your all-time top of 36.
Okay.
That is
now
currently
I got rinsed.
That is currently the high score ever. I'm excited when this game becomes like a thing that many people have played in the public. Somebody sending us a photo of a better soil, though. It's just gonna be the most delightful moment.
Okay, and on to see how I got rinsed. Not one of my better games.
Yeah, usually game wins.
Everyone's got an off day. So if you look at my soil tracker, the balance is not good. It's not good because my nutrients way outstripped my other stats. And if you remember, I was actually playing a food web heavy early game and then was trying to catch up. But I was never really able to get my structure catching up with my other stats without building on nutrients. And that's because the level 3s I decided to dump. Level 3s give 5 soil stats each. But I built into animal decomposers and ecosystem engineers, which do both nutrients and structure, which is supposed to be ideal, but I went a bit too heavy into the animal decomposers. I have a bunch of them in my soil. So, c'est la vie. I get 0 points for my balance bonus because they are 5 apart. Yikes.
Ouch.
And I'll count my communities. So my first community here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 unique creature types. That's 4 points. And then some creature types have more than 1 present. I have 2 levels of small predator, 2 level of animal decomposer, and 2 level of large predator. So 1 point for each creature type with more than one level there. So that'll be a 7-point community. For scoring my second community, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unique types. So 5 points sitting there. And then 2 creatures types that have more than one level present for that type. A level 1 and a level 2 animal decomposer, and a level 1 and a level 3 ecosystem engineer. So that's another 7-point community, 5 plus 2. And for my bottom one, that's kind of the dregs of what I have lying around at the end of the game. I have 3 unique types there, so that one will be 3 points, bringing me to a whopping total of 17, which is perhaps the worst game of Loam I've ever played, actually. Happy to see it on screen.
It's the moment when you ask for help, something just works, you know. It's the equivalent of that. The camera turned on and everything just fell apart. Even though, yeah, usually you win this game. It's a very Tim-esque game of Loam there. Sorry about that.
I have a really good time though. Sometimes when you're dealing with like the rough draws or a misplay of your own, like I described in this game, those are the ones that really get your brain going and give you something to chew on. So I loved it.
Loam is like a little, yeah, it is like a puzzle every time, and it's always a very satisfying puzzle. And it's so short that I feel like it's always very tempting to just play it again. It's like I can do better this time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Where's my mind at right now? It's let's play another game of Loam and not suck so bad.
Absolutely. Well, great game from both of our contenders here. Actually, yeah, that was really, really fun to watch, honestly. And I really enjoyed that. And it's one thing cool to note that they both play the exact same number of creatures and the same number of communities. And they even had communities, all their communities were even like the same sizes. But totally different composition, totally different points value, just entirely based on sort of different strategies they were taking at different times. And, you know, in this case, Max's balance strategy worked out, but I've seen games where the shooting ahead one stat to get upgrades early totally pays off. It really is like very context dependent on what you have available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting when it works out like this because there's always that tension in Loam that you can actually place more creatures if you hit all your behaviors on your turns really well. Like you're actually just taking more actions if you hit those behaviors. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much stuff you've placed all the time. That's just one component in how well you score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just the raw number of creatures is not always going to guarantee you a success. It really depends where you put them and when you place them is extremely important. Yeah. Well, that was super cool to watch. Thank you both for both playing and also explaining all your moves so well. I'm going to edit this down and put this on the channel so that anybody can just sort of watch a full game get played with these nice little narrations. And thank you all very much.